And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on the Lark Tavern stage. No, not exactly. It is, well, for this particular act. How about a big, warm goodbye to Bush Bash welcome to the comic stylings of Ed and Larry. Otherwise known as the Firlefanz puppets. So, welcome, Mr. President. How are you doing tonight?
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here with all the people who love me. Thank you. You love me. Express yourself.
Please keep your shoes on. Thank you.
I had a bad experience with the shoes.
Good one. This is a president with a lot of soul.
Yes. Vice President Cheney, welcome to you tonight, too. So, Mr. President, what do you plan to do after tomorrow?
I'm going to be spending some time on the ranch, clearing brush. That's all I got to do.
Do you know how to do it?
I've been doing that.
Good. Are you guys ready?
We got ready. Hey, Dick. I hear you shot a 78-year-old man in the face.
Yeah, and it gave me a great idea about how to fix Social Security.
Oh, yeah, I wish I'd thought about that.
Hey, George.
Yeah.
You must be the most physically fit president in history.
Yeah, that's true. That's what they say. They say my heart rate is the same as my IQ. What about you, Dick? Do you ever stretch?
Stretch. I linked Saddam Hussein to 9/11.
Oh, that's right.
You know, George Washington couldn't tell a lie.
And Richard Nixon couldn't tell the truth.
What about you, George?
I couldn't tell the difference.
Hey, George.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about Roe versus Wade?
Let's see, I guess they're both pretty good ways of getting out of New Orleans. You can talk among yourselves.
It's like a real White House press conference.
No questions, thank you. Okay, so, excuse me. We got a change of personnel up here. So how's the war going, Rummy?
Well, there's a report of 3 Brazilian soldiers getting killed.
Oh my God, that's terrible. You can't mean that. Remind me, Rummy, how many is a Brazilian? Dick?
Do the math, David.
You neocons are always talking about starving the beast. What's that mean, anyway?
It means that if you give poor people a living wage, they're just going to pay rent and buy groceries.
Oh!
George, everybody's talking about your legacy.
Yeah, they sure misunderestimated me.
Well, you attacked and took over 2 countries.
Yeah. Biggest annual deficit in history.
You cut the most unemployment benefits.
Dissolved more treaties than any other American president.
You have the richest cabinet members in history.
The fewest press conferences in modern presidential history.
And the most vacation days of any president.
Yeah, and the most fundraising trips in the history of the United States.
Biggest annual budget spending increases. Oh, really? Yeah.
We built the most enormous governmental bureaucracy ever.
Spend more on polls and focus groups than any other president.
I remember more freedoms and I removed more freedoms and civil liberties than any other president.
I like the term
Alright, now while I was visiting England, I was invited to tea with the Queen. Now, y'all know where England is? I had a little trouble with that the first time. So I asked her what her leadership philosophy is. She says that it is to surround herself with intelligent people. So I said, how does you know if they're intelligent? I do so by asking them the right questions, says the Queen. Allow me to demonstrate. So she phones up Tony Blair and she says, Mr. Prime Minister, please answer this question. Your mother has a child and your father has a child. And this child is not your brother or your sister. Who is it? It's me, ma'am. So that gave me the idea to call Rummy in and ask him. So I asked Rummy, your mother has a child and your father has a child, and this child is not your brother or your sister. Who is it? Rummy didn't know. And he says, can I think about it and get back to you? Well, Rummy calls around, see, and calls Colin Powell at the State Department to see if he knows. Now, looky here, son, your mother has a child, and your father has a child, and this child is not your brother or your sister. Who is it? Parody. Powell answers immediately. It's me, you stupid cracker. Rummy says, oh, I get it. So Rummy runs back to the White House and says, I know the answer. I know who it is. It's Colin Powell. I had to tell him, wrong, Rummy, you stupid jackass, it's Tony Blair.
Hey, George, you told that German reporter that the best moment of your presidency was when you caught that 7.5-pound perch.
Yep, that's right.
Well, the biggest perch on record was only 4.3 pounds.
The important thing, Dick, is that he greeted me as a liberator.
Firlefanz puppets. Apologies to Hee Haw and no one else.